We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies. All right, guys, welcome back to Deal Junkies. We are here doing a follow-up episode to talk with the three of us, Gabe Johansson, Trevor Howard, Mike Nuss. We're going to talk about how to find deals, how to know what a deal is, and if which one's more important. Is that what we're going to talk about?
Yeah, and you don't find deals, you make them. You make deals.
Oh, you make deals.
Yeah.
There's deals everywhere.
There's deals everywhere. You can make them, and you can make deals even better. Like, I'm all excited now because the deal we just talked about, you guys are like, oh, no, you did this, and now we're talking structure, and oh, gosh.
Just make it better.
Yeah, so you make it happen.
Well, I think there's two ways. You got to find it first and then make it, I think.
You got to find the opportunity, and then you turn the opportunity into a deal.
So let's go over like a few of the ways that you actually find deals as a constructive way for people listening to this so they can do it. Plus, we are trying to figure this out and I am trying to figure out and systematize it also for how we do it.
So that we get more flow, more deal flow.
Yeah, and I think you have different acquisition channels and different ways you find different types of deals, and you want different, depending on what you're looking for, you want to crank them up or down at different times. But I think you do a really good job of systematizing for the deal type you do.
Mike
does, and we do really good at one way of it because of Gabe. He just likes to make friends and have fun, and that's one way to do it.
Attract deals. I like to attract them.
Yeah, it's funny. I think when you actually, because I tasked our acquisitions manager, right? I'm not a great systems guy. That's not what I do. The 90% of the deals we got over the past 2 years are just relationship deals. They come from our reputation. There's some outbound marketing that goes along with that, but everything is based on you've been here for 10 years, you have momentum, you have a name, you have a reputation. And so it's now we can use that to work with other professionals. And so we're getting less direct from seller and we're getting more from our network.
Okay. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a few very obvious ways you find deals. You have on-the-market deals. You're literally just going on the MLS, LoopNet, CoStar, looking at deals. Then you have broker relations of them bringing you your deals. And then you have direct-to-seller, whether you're cold calling them or mailing them to you. And then you have like that word-of-mouth people bringing you deals to partner as well, or just bringing you deals. That's the only way I think of finding deals.
And honestly, like you just have friends and clients who you've sold deals to or done deals with in the past that need to move something. I mean, we're doing a deal right now. The way our storage deal landed in our lap was a client that I've worked with for years that we have a really good rapport. They want to do a deal, and we just put something together. It's easy when you have the relationship. It makes the deal to me a lot more fun and a lot easier. But I think you need to be a magnet for deals. And to your point, Mike, you're talking about systematizing. And then, even though you have those systems, a lot of those deals still came from relationships. I think that your systems kind of play a part in that too, because I notice this a lot with marketing is like I'll go out and I'll do a big marketing campaign, and then the people who want to do business with me are the people who know me, but they're reminded to come back and do business with me. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like, oh, damn it, I could have just called them and done a deal. But it just you have to remain top of mind awareness. And so you go out to market in a very transactional way, thinking you're going to pick up maybe new business or new deal flow from people you don't know. And then it drums up these people that you do know. And you're like, why'd I even spend the money? But I think you have to do it.
My favorite thing from Grant Cardone is omnipresence. Like that's what he really drives in is you do all this to create an omnipresence. I had a conversation with a kind of younger investor the other day. Starts with mindset. We get that, right? Starts with then routine, schedule, discipline. But the whole reason we're doing all that is to create momentum. And so what we benefit off of right now is we've got a decade plus 2 decades of momentum. And so deals are easier and funner. Before you have momentum, though, what are you doing to then get that snowball going so then you have momentum so that deals are easier and fun? So it'd be the beginning, they're harder, and they're not as fun.
So I think it's harder on the front end because you don't know what a deal is or how to make a deal.
And you don't have a network. You don't have anything to bring with you, right? So think of it this way. If there's I'll just take the kid I was talking to yesterday because I'm looking at more like commission-oriented salesmen on our direct-to-seller side. You can be starting by yourself with no momentum behind you, no name, no proven track record of 20 acquisitions a year, like you can start on your own and you can go that route and you can get 100% of what you create. Or you can bring my name, my reputation, my track record to the table.
Piggyback.
You can piggyback off that. So it's easier to get traction. It's easier to get success. And there's pros and cons to both scenarios. But ultimately, what do you want? You want momentum so people bring you deals. And the way that momentum first starts is repeat sellers. That's what I found is the beauty of going direct to sellers, creating those relationships, and then you get a referral from a seller or they have another property they want to sell. That's the beauty of it. And then it starts, well, year 2, you get 1 repeat. And then before you know it, you get 3 new transactions or acquisitions because of repeat sellers. And then pocket listings with brokers. You do 1 deal with a broker in year 1, and like year 3, they give you 2, and then year 6, they give you 5. And so that's kind of how your momentum grows based on the activity and the success that you have in the marketplace. And so finding deals starts with the right mindset, going after the right class and having a clear idea of what it is that you're going, and then taking the action steps, the greatest form of intelligence, taking the action steps to then create massive, what does Grant call it? Massive whatever. And then now you have to understand what is it that you're looking at, and now how do you decipher what those opportunities are so you're putting your right amount of efforts into it. The analogy I like to use, or it was explained to me, is a bicycle spoke wheel, right? You want some channel of every spoke on that wheel. So you want direct mail, you want cold calling. Your direct mail can be postcards, it can be letters. It can be a stateside cold caller, it can be a VA cold caller. It can be network taking all these brokers out to lunch. It can be meeting with the hard money lenders. It can be meeting with all the wholesalers. So there's all these different ways that you can go have conversations and stir up opportunities. And that's what you want to do. And then you got to start filtering the opportunities. And then that's where your systems can create efficiency, and then your efficiency creates faster success.
I love the repeat business idea. I learned that from Paul Curley. Every time when I was brokering a deal for him, we put a deal together. And the second we went under contract, he'd go, all right, what's the next deal? Okay. And he always trying to add another deal into the pipeline. Same thing with a seller. We meet with a seller, we ink a deal, we shake hands, we're all friends. The second that the tension is out of the air and everybody is like, okay, we know where we're going with this deal, the very next question is, what else do you got?
Yeah. Yep.
Every single time we always ask what other deals do they want to do. And I think if you can do that, and you can, I had a goal to always, as a broker, if I'm brokering with another broker, especially one that I like, and we're closing business together, I always try to keep something under contract with them at all times. So part of my day, every day, at some point, I'm going to be touching base with that broker. I just found the brokers I liked, the ones we were successful together, and I didn't need to go out and find 50 other brokers to do deals with. I could find 4 or 5 brokers that we had good success with, and just make sure that we always keep a pipeline going together.
Mm-hmm. And think of it, if you're a professional and you enjoy doing business with someone, you just want to continue doing business with that person.
It's more fun.
It's more fun for them and for you.
Yeah.
And it's easier for them and for you. And that's kind of the goal that people are trying to get to, in my opinion.
So the direct mail, all those spokes on that wheel that you're talking about, a lot of those things will lead to different things, but that's very transactional. I mean, you're trying to stir up opportunities outside of your sphere and people that you've already done business with before, so that you can start up new opportunities.
Yeah. And as my second in command and I kind of look back into our track record and what our org chart is, we've decided, okay, our acquisitions and development company is 2 companies. It's the warm reputation side of the company, and then it's, well, we still have to continue the direct to seller. And so now we're going to bifurcate those 2 sections of our business, and then give liquidity and resources in the right format to those 2 sides of it.
So that's what I was going to ask you. It's like the 80-20 rule. You're spending 80% of your marketing budget on 20% of your clients or your opportunities.
Yep.
So is there a way? My dad used to always joke. He'd say, we were in the car business, and he'd say, I know that I'm wasting half of my advertising budget. I just don't know which half.
Yep.
Do you ever sit down and try to figure out how to better spend that 80% to try to hit the people that are more likely to do business with you?
Yeah, not often enough. And so that's why we're doing it right now, which is my aha moment this week was literally, it's not even 80-20. It's like 95-5.
Yeah.
We're spending 95% of our expense investment in acquisition on 5% of what we buy.
What? How do you do the experiment? Could you stop for a while, just spending that money and see what happens?
All we did is we just looked at everything we bought and then the lead source it came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So explain that a little more. So you're sending direct mail, hey, we want to buy this, and you're cold calling them, or what are you doing on the front end?
Yeah, exactly. So essentially, we just made a spreadsheet of these are all the properties we bought, and then where did the deal come from?
No,
Did it come
before
from?
that, step back. So like you have a list of properties you want to buy, and you're mailing all these monthly.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so our direct to seller is it's cold calling and it's direct mail. And so huge.
How big's that list?
It's 20 or 30,000 properties.
Okay.
And then broken down into different categories, right? So you've got the 2 to 4 unit, the 5 to 20 or 25 unit, and then the 25 to 50. We've got single family only, we've got absentee, we've got owner occupied. Then there's
sending a little bit of different
mail to each
and
one.
cold calls
Yeah.
to each one.
Yep.
Okay, so then you looked at what you closed, and then what did you find?
Yeah, we found the majority of it came through pocket listings, previous sellers, and people I already knew.
So why don't you stop?
That may be the solution. Okay, so to answer that question is the most heavily discounted deals are in that direct to seller scenario.
I see.
So I can
a lot
look
of
at
meat on the bone on those
Yeah.
transactional deals.
Exactly. And so what I need to look at is I really enjoy relational deals. They're fun to do. They're easier to do. They don't cost as much money to get into them from a business operations expense standpoint, but they cost more. They have less meat on the bone. Whereas the other one's way more transactional. You have to deal with way shadier sellers. You're dealing with a level of people that you may not want to operate with. But there's a need for that in the marketplace. And then how does that fit into what I'm actually trying to accomplish? And the beauty of it is there's people that are high quality people that can do wonders and great things for the sellers and the people that are going through those motivated scenarios in life that I don't have the patience. No one on my team can treat those people with the level of respect and patience that they need. But if we can bring in the right person and then they can piggyback off our foundation, they can serve people a lot better. And then that easily plugs into all the other stuff we're trying to do.
So are you spending, on a list of 30,000, you're spending $15,000 a month on marketing?
No, we're not that much.
So you're hitting these people every quarter.
Yeah, we're less than 5 figures, but we're close to it probably.
Okay. And then it's worth it because if you find one, how many deals are you finding from direct mail? What's the ratio look like of total?
Yeah, it's not worth it now, right?
Okay.
I think essentially if you look at what we've spent over the past 2 years, we've made that much in profit. So it's $1. It's a net neutral. It's a waste of effort.
Do you think you have bad marketing?
No, I think we just don't have the right person in that model. Like my acquisitions manager is great. He's just like me. He's really good at the relational side. We just don't have the systems to ensure the action steps and the follow-up.
So you're sending people mail and then you're not following up with them, or what is not happening?
The mail is the smaller component of it. A lot of it's cold calling. And so those are just the less desirable leads. They're the less motivated. They're the less clear handoff. And so I need someone who's really young and hungry to put all their effort into that. And I just don't have that team member now. Whereas Daniel's got a lot of roles and responsibility. He's very much like me. He's very relational. He doesn't want to deal with problems. He wants to deal with positive people. And so by nature, he does a really good job on that of being an ambassador of our brand and an extension of who I am. So what we're realizing is, okay, that's great but if we want to scale our company and do a little bit more or kind of change where our lump sums of cash are coming from and doing less flips and less development and more income producing property, then we need some higher discounted deals and we need to start working more in that distressed arena, which means I need to reshift our staff a little bit, our org chart.
To making more cold calls.
Yeah, and more American-based instead of overseas-based cold calls, and then following up with those leads. And then also someone that then has the ability to turn an acquisition lead into a property management lead or a listing referral.
Why would you hire it out? Why not put somebody on your staff?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
When you talk stateside, not a VA, but actually putting a cold caller on your team?
Yep. That's exactly what I'm saying, is getting someone now that it's on staff, that this is their job, is to do what we've outsourced at an inefficient level overseas to do it locally at a higher efficiency.
And you feel that you would get better results from that just because they understand this market and your business better?
That's the bigger thing, is not even that. Yeah, I've done a lot of conversations with sellers, and when they're talking about their property on 52nd, and you're like, oh yeah, I used to live in that neighborhood. My first house was in that neighborhood. Yeah. It's a completely different conversation. Yeah. And then the other part is, well, these overseas callers, they have no clue who Mike at Rarebird is. They have no clue what our business does. But a guy on my team is like, oh yeah, I know we do development, we do middle income, we love rentals, we love his, like now they can speak with passion. And so then their success rate's going to be higher.
Is it worth it though for the cost? So this is what we're been toying with right now, is we want to implement a VA cold caller from out of country because it costs $6 an hour to have them do and just do a volume game. So you don't think that's the move?
It is, if you have now, because all they're going to do is essentially take that list of 30 grand, and then you're going to get 50 to 80 names a month that
people possibly interested in selling.
Exactly. Where they actually communicated with those 50, 80 people. They answered some questions, and now you have a couple answered questions and some contact information.
And they're sort of become like a warm lead. They're not even a lead yet.
They're not even a lead. They're not even a warm lead, but they're yeah.
But then that's when you go build the relationship.
Exactly. And so that's where we need so if you have someone locally that then can take that and nurture it adequately, that's where it works. And that's where I'm saying, from a staffing standpoint, we're missing that person.
The mail is better because they get repetitive branding and awareness of you, and eventually when they're ready, they call. And now, to me, that's a hot lead. You've got somebody that calls you. You're marketing yourselves in an effective way to where the phone rings the other direction.
Yep.
That's what I've always aimed for, is to get it costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time, but if you can build the branding and build the awareness around getting the phone ringing to you, you don't have to go look for the needle in the haystack all the time.
Yeah.
But to Trevor's point, we want all the deals, and so if we're missing out on 5% of deals because we don't have somebody in Egypt calling everybody, like, okay, well, let's call everybody and find out where that one deal is, I guess. We had Jan Wanat, is that how you say his name, on, and he talked about he hires VAs out of Egypt, and he gave us a lot of pointers on this, but they make thousands of phone calls, and it turns into them writing about 40 offers per month. And
was it a week or per month?
Per month. He said they did about 40 per month.
And bought one.
Yeah. So you may, when you look at the numbers of that, they call 10,000 people
a month
to create 300 warm leads, to create 40 offers to create one deal. So you whittle down 10,000 points of contact into one transaction. And Mike and I, being relational guys, we look at that and we go like, I can just pick up the phone right now and call one of my buddies and do a deal. Like,
why throw a net in the water to get 100 fish when you can use a spear?
I don't need 10,000. I can do it on one. But I don't have the time to sit on the phone all day long and call everybody, and so you got to build a team around this. And if you have the right team, like sounds like you're starting to build, then that would be nice to have somebody on the Rarebird team that knows the Rarebird DNA, knows what you guys are trying to accomplish, and is somebody local that speaks the lingo and, maybe doesn't have the accent or whatever it is. Isn't as scripted, probably.
And that's the DNA of my company, is not scripted. I think that's really the essence of what we are. Yeah.
Yeah, I like your birthday card that goes out that says, hey, we're in your neighborhood. We love this neighborhood. We own something down the street. If you ever think about selling, give us a call. Yep. Like, super soft touch. It's not very salesy. It's not transactional really at all. It's just putting your brand out into the world.
It's just being present.
Just go,
omnipresence.
if you ever want to sell, we are in the market to buy your property.
And just like I joke about it all the time, but how omnipresent SMI is down here in the valley. Do you know how many times I go up to a guy on a golf cart and I'm like, oh, yes, SMI, because you have got golf swag everywhere. Like, it's right.
Well, Trevor asked me a question. He sent me a text last night, and he said, "Who's the biggest? What'd you say? The biggest marketer in Salem?"
Yeah. So I for reference, I was asking you that because Jaron was like, "Okay, you guys now have Avery, and she's doing your branding and whatnot." He's like, "That's awesome." And he's like, "Does she know anything about marketing though?" He's like, "You should go. Like, you're paying for coaching for this other stuff. You should go you and Avery go meet with a marketer and get some ideas.
Oh.
And I was like, that's a good idea. And then so I asked you, I said, who's the biggest marketers you know? And he
I
tells me Grant Cardone, Coca-Cola, and Rolex. I was like, okay, I can't meet with them. I was like, who's the biggest local marketer you know? He's like, SMI. And I was like, okay, I guess.
Because of Grant Cardone.
Yeah, I just copied them.
Yeah. So we need to meet with you.
Okay.
And we'll pay you a
All right.
consultation fee.
Also, Tim Fitzpatrick Painting. I would say he's got a lot of good ideas, but a lot of them he stole from me. So, but now he's coming up with some new ones I'm stealing from him. So we love each
There you
other.
go.
It's all good.
But with the deal finding, so what I'm trying to build out right now, and this is what I think we need to focus on next for us buying more deals, is, okay, we have the way Gabe does it, where he's just this magnet of attracting deals that randomly come in different ways. So now we need to build out the cold caller as one lead. Now we need to send direct mail, and then we need to systematize, okay, every on-market deal, we should have a system and analyze them all. Because, like, on the market right now, there's like 10 deals probably we could buy that we're just passing up for it because we didn't talk to them. We didn't figure out what's going on with them. And then we have the broker relation that you want to, like, systematize. These are the key brokers. Like, we need to touch base with them every so often. And I think if we can do those and track the numbers, like, you buy all the deals.
Mm-hmm.
But then
all it takes
a
is
lot
a
of
big
work.
whiteboard. Well, yeah. Big whiteboard to globally look at it, and then each section has so many details to it. Quickly, you're just fully spread out.
I think it comes down to, like, what's the highest and best use of our resources, our time and our money, right?
Yeah.
And I think that everybody on the team plays a different role. I'm obviously not going to be the guy that calls 10,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe Trevor builds a team that does call 10,000 people. I think, to Mike's point, the problem with being relational is we have fun and we make friends and we do deals and it's easy, but we're not ripping deals because we want to do deals over and over and over and over again, right? So if you want to have a lot of meat on the bone and you want to rip deals and be transactional, it has to be a little more scripted, a little more hands-off. It's got to be more salesy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not my personality type. It's not something I want to do. It doesn't mean I don't want those deals because it'd be great to have them, but you just got to build a team around that.
Yep.
And maybe it's VAs, stateside or foreign. Maybe it's on your own team. I mean, the best phone call that can be made is by one of us just picking up the phone and calling. I mean, that is the best phone call that can be made. And to my point, and I've had brokers over the years who they have, they come out of Marcus or they come out of one of these places where you got to make 150 calls a week. You got to do your calls. I love talking on the phone with people, but I hate making cold calls. I want to talk with people who want to talk back.
Absolutely.
I don't want to, like, have people hanging up on me and tell me to F off and all the other stuff. I want to have a good call. So, like, when somebody tells me, well, you just got to make your 20 calls a day, in my mind, there's just no way. There's just no way I'm going to make, like, I can make maybe 2 or 3 calls today, but to me, if I pick up the phone, and we've talked about this before, you pick up the phone, you talk, if you get one person to talk to you, you can find a deal in there somewhere or somebody they know that wants to do a deal. I mean, it's not, all you got to do is just take an extra few minutes, and you can go overboard with that and spend a couple hours with them and never do anything. So you want to be careful about the use of your time.
Absolutely. And so all we're talking about is just adequately using your resources. The first place to look at your first resource is your personality type. Like, for me, I am an introvert. Sure, I love real estate and I love going to meetups, but I'm freaking drained. I can't be a cold caller because my site, that's just a drain. If I have 5 people crap on me, and it's not that I don't have a good attitude, it's not that I'm positive, it's just that just sucks energy out of me. And even like having fun and doing a deal, dude, I'm worn out by 3 o'clock. I don't even want to talk to any more people because it sucks so much life out of me, the excitement of that. So you have to evaluate, well, what is your personality? What are you good at? And then you need to build a team around your weaknesses.
There's a documentary. I got to figure out what this is called. There's a documentary. It's like a cold calling center where there's all these, like, weirdos in this room. I mean, this is like a real thing, and they're hitting the phones all day long, and they love it. They're like, but they're in there like doing drugs and, like, I mean, this is like, it's like crazy.
It's called the Boiler Room.
It is a boiler room.
Yeah.
I got to go back and look at what it was. It's like a
I think I watched that after you.
They were selling. They were raising money for firefighter donations or something like this, and they just had these call rooms all where they just had people that were calling and trying to get people to donate money all day long. It was a scam. It was it was a big, huge scam. But they just had all these weirdos in there that like couldn't get a job anywhere else, like ex-cons and whatever. And these guys, they have videos of these guys making phone calls, and like they're calling somebody and somebody's mad at them or whatever, and they're like playing ping pong, drinking beer, and like they could care less about the person that's on the other end. They've got their script down pat so much they can be doing whatever they want, and they sort of get off on somebody like saying something funny to them or hanging up on them or being mad at them or whatever. But like they're just total shysters, in my opinion. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is the boiler room, call room type of thing. I don't know what happens in Egypt when you hire a VA to call your people. But I just can't imagine that job of I'm gonna set up a dialer and I'm just gonna hit a button and I'm just gonna talk. I get paid over and over and over and over again for the amount of people. I talked to 1,000 people today. Like, I don't know. Isn't that a weird job? Wouldn't that make you think weird things?
For us, but not for the person who.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
There are people out there made for this.
There are people that they thrive in that.
I did the cold calling early on, so we'd call
everybody does when they start.
Yeah,
you have to
4 hours a day of just going through the list and calling, and you'll find deals doing it.
Yeah, and Trevor's calls would be about like 28 seconds long, and Dane's would be about 2.5 hours long.
So
who found more deals between the two of you
when we did cold calling? I think I did.
Trevor would go like, "Hey, do you want to sell this property?" No, okay, thanks, bye.
Did he actually cold call, or was he in Glacier National Park?
Dane would be on the phone like talking about, "Oh, grandma, like let's pray for grandma."
I think what you need is the cold caller on the front end, and then you give Dane once you have someone to the back.
That's what Mike's talking about, is the funnel of how you get from we got to go find the needle in the haystack. Let somebody else go find the needle in the haystack, and then you got to do that in a way though that in that first touch, it's not so transactional, because like you said, there might be a lot of meat on the bone, but you're dealing with people that are they just suck. Like they're not fun. They're hard deals. Like it's not adding a lot to your life other than it's more profitable.
And they make short-term decisions. Like here's a real life scenario. So we got a lead POC listing from an agent. Here's a distressed seller. Foreclosure's like 6 weeks out. You look at it, and at that point arrears weren't that high. It didn't make sense as a subject to then. So they looked at it. Hey, you want to buy the subject to? No, it doesn't make sense. This needs to be a short sell. But that's not what the seller wanted to hear. So what does he do? He signs up on a subject to with a wholesaler.
Oh, who doesn't know how to put the deal together.
Doesn't know how to put the deal together. Doesn't know, like, what the wholesaler is offering is a $65,000 subject to a 5% loan that is negative $200 a month in cash flow.
Yeah, no one wants it.
No one wants to buy it. But the problem is now he's tied up with the wholesaler with now the auction is 14 days out. And now he has to terminate a deal with the wholesaler who's a piece of shit.
And now he doesn't have any time to go make any other real move.
So now it's like, okay, so, and then Labor Day is Monday. So what, now Tuesday we have to put an offer together and try and get an auction extended so that way we can buy a short sale that should have always been a short sale.
That's actually transactional. Wholesaling is very transactional.
So transactional.
I've talked to a couple like Marina up in Portland who she feels for these folks and really wants to help them. But
She's great.
For the most part, a wholesaler to me, even in the car business, wholesale was wholesale. Same idea. I mean, it's very, very transactional. It's not relational at all. It's just
spaghetti on the wall.
So yeah,
that's it. There's not education. You don't know how to put the deal together. Oh well, I can do this paperwork and I'll throw this spaghetti on the wall and maybe it'll stick.
They're the ones spending their day and their energy on that. That's their resource, and they only get paid if they bring you a deal that works. So having wholesalers, in your circle are good because they will bring you deals that you'll do.
It's a love-hate relationship because most of them don't know what a deal is or how to structure anything. So they're just, like you said, throwing spaghetti on the wall. So I had this thing I'm making. Tell me if you think it's a good idea, or both of you. So we analyze our deals, right, and you plug in all these numbers. I was trying to make a front-end sheet where it's very, very simple. Like there's like 3 things they can enter information into, and that plugs all in the background. They don't get to see it. And then if it's a deal, it's like lights up green, give us a call, or like offer this price. Here's the terms we'll do. Do you think that like someone would actually use that?
That's the way the banks underwrite loans.
So like now when I go to a wholesaler, they call and they're like, "Hey, we got this sick deal. It's 8% interest, and you put 50% down." I'm like, why would I do that? The bank gives me better like terms, but I can just give them the sheet.
Yeah.
Here's how you use it. Maybe record a little video. Run every deal you find. We'll buy it if XYZ happens.
You know
think
how much
people would
I
use that or just throw it away?
I think they would, because you're just giving them a tool to save them time.
Yeah.
You know how much I hate calculators? Jan's calculator's so good because he literally changes the drop down, seller finance to cash, and it spits it out. I think there's a ton of value in that because you're just giving them time back. That's all you're saying is you don't even need to communicate with me. So like you get that email, you email back with a link. You get that text, you just text back with a link. So it just saves everybody time and energy. And it's a lot better than where I've come to, which is like I just don't deal with wholesalers. I don't deal with them. I don't want to deal with them.
So you don't find
I bought one wholesale in the past 5 years during COVID.
Okay. So that's not one of the sources that you use to find.
I like working with wholesalers when they're getting into an asset class they don't understand, and then they bring you on as like an ally and a partner. I love bird dogs. So I like people who are trying to get into the industry that want to do things right, that really want to lean on like mentorship. And then you just trade mentorship to then help them get what they want. And typically someone that starts and they want their own owner-occupied plex, guess what? They're going to send out a lot of marketing that's going to find deals that don't work for them. And so what you do is you empower them to teach them how to get a deal. And through that process, you help them find a deal. And then their overflow stuff, they have nowhere to take it. And so guess what? You just then pay them to then buy their overflow stuff. And so by giving them them giving you the excess, you pay for their marketing, and then they go get a great off-market deal that you help them structure. So that's what I like to. Again, it's very relational, right? It's not transactional at all, and it's more impact. So that's just kind of where my mindset goes. But ideally, you do both. You have your calculator that you just send the wholesalers you don't want to talk to, and then the people that really you get along with and have fun with, you communicate with them in a relational style.
So what's your advice for new investors when they come to you and they go, I just can't find a deal. I just can't find a deal. There's no deals. I can't find a deal.
Who was I talking to? Oh yeah, my friend Jonah. He's a cool guy. He's saying stuff like that, and he's like, I want to buy cash flow properties, but he's going on trips and boating all day, and he did one flip in Pendleton and made 6 figures, and then he's trying to bring me this deal, and he's like structuring. He's like, $600 a month of cash flow. I'm like, dude, you just made $100,000 doing a flip remotely that you spent 2 hours on.
Go do that again.
Yeah. And he's like, whoa. And I'm like, so then I just did the math. I was like, okay, that one deal is 1,566 months of this deal. And then he's like, but I'm not finding it. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this. And then I look at him. Well, no, you're not. I'm not being a dick. You just aren't, because if you were, you'd have different results. And so I don't even know where I was going with that.
I was asking you about what advice you give to new investors who say they can't find a deal.
Yeah, they're just not putting enough effort.
Well, you have to. They don't know what they're looking for. You have to define what you're looking for first.
Your buy box.
Because most people have the problem. So very good for beginners starting out. You usually don't have any resources or knowledge. So you have like one deal type you can do, and then it makes sense to you. You just do that deal type. You know exactly what you're looking for. Where people get messed up is they start learning all the strategies of how to do all these different deal types.
They want to do them all.
They have maybe some money, maybe some partnership opportunities. Now you're looking for 10 things and you can't find anything because it's way too broad. So defining that one deal type you're looking for, then it becomes more apparent. So like most people starting out, they're buying an owner-occupied, living in it, and somehow renting out some extra space or flipping it. Like there's tons of ways to do it, right? Most people are doing that starting out. But if you're not, it's define it, and it's probably on the market, honestly. And then we're going to talk about making a deal. You have to make it into a deal for you. So, like, you have to define what your goal is with the deal. Are you looking for equity growth, cash flow, like a certain amount of leverage, right? You have to know what you're looking for first, and then you can start finding it. And on the market, like, we love doing creative deals, and people are like, you have to go off market doing it. It's like, we buy most of our stuff on market.
Yeah.
They already want to sell the property. They are right there for you to sell. You don't have to do anything. They want to sell you the properity.
And their price is a little higher. It'd be sold already.
Exactly. Yeah. And those are the ones that you make into deals because they have to be made
deals
into
everywhere.
Yeah. There's basically 2 ways you do a deal. Most people try to do it on price because that's the only way they know how to. And then there's terms. So like if you're doing it on terms, you can structure the deal tons of different ways. I'd go buy a house for $1 billion if I could pay them $1 a month for the next.
Well, and I've stolen your guys' motto so many times now. It's like, okay, your price, my terms, or my price, your terms.
The problem is that when you go like your price, my terms, and then they want to start negotiating your terms, they're like, okay, well, if we're going to do that, then we're going to start negotiating the price.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you go in circles.
Yeah. Usually everyone focuses on one term.
Well, you just did this deal in the last episode. You talked about a $2.25 million 14 unit that you put together on seller finance, and you won it on terms.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, 6 offers. You won. Partially your relationship to the broker, partially the fact that your terms were better.
Mm-hmm.
You gave the terms the seller was looking for.
Yep.
But you gave them their price and their terms to an extent.
I give them all their terms to an extent.
But you got what you wanted.
Yeah. And that's the other thing I was going to kind of get into is now when you get into the competition of the marketplace, who you're competing against then matters, right? Like, so if it wasn't me you were competing against, who didn't look at it as 2 assets with the different, and it was just other guys like you that just wanted apartments, you would have won because I looked at it from because I made it into a different deal.
Yeah. You saw it from a different angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I hate it. I want that deal.
The point is, and we've talked about this a lot when we start thinking in scarcity mindset that there aren't enough deals, we can't find a deal. There's deals everywhere.
The coolest part, I tell everyone because they get stressed out when they miss a deal. I'm like, the coolest part about real estate is next week something pretty similar is going to come up on the market.
Yeah,
and that's actually, I love this. So when I kind of talk about the residential world, boots in the streets, if you want to learn, go out into the neighborhood and you can do so many things at once. One thing you can do is you can look for active construction projects. And we have a really good online database. So when you see an active construction project, you know what they paid for it, when they paid for it, where they're at in the construction process, what kind of permits they got. You can just look at that entire thing and know exactly what the scenario is. And if you spend enough time in that neighborhood and you go back 6 months later when it's done, flipped, and on the market, now you can see the back end value of that. And you're seeing, that was this investor who then used that contractor. Well, when you're in the neighborhood, what else are you doing? You're looking out, you're driving for dollars. You're finding all those vacant houses and you're creating a list of that. And you're using your property radar app or whatever app it is. And you're creating a list of all those owners and you're cold calling those owners. I'm on 28th Avenue. This must have been vacant for 8 years. What are you doing with this property? Right. And guess what? That property maybe looks just like the house 2 blocks away that's being flipped right now. So you know what that investor is going to pay for it. And now you have a conversation. They're like, oh, yeah, we probably take $300. And you see that investor paid $320. You just printed $20,000 by being in the marketplace and aware of what is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you have to know what you're looking for, and then especially if you're a beginner investor, and then you have to pair that deal finding path with it. So like
there's a step before that. You just have to start taking action to then find out what it is that you like and want. And
sure. Yeah. So when I started out, I was doing all the things, writing letters, door knocking. I bought deals off all of it. So I bought deals off writing letters, multiple of them just by hand. And then I bought deals from door knocking. I literally went and I knocked on similar houses' doors. And I said,
my first seller finance deal was a door knock. I door knocked their house and we bought the lot next door, seller finance. Didn't even know it was theirs.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't think of deals in terms of buildings. I think of deals in terms of people.
Yes.
And so when you say boots on the ground, driving around, you can drive around and look at a building and have some idea of what's going on with the people who own that building. And when you see something that's been vacant for 8 years, that's run down or whatever, you know there's something going on. Like you're looking for a tired seller. You're looking for somebody who's done, who doesn't want to put the money in, doesn't want to put the time in. And you can step in and do that and give them their exit, right? Just like you're talking about on this seller carry deal.
Yeah, you want the old tired landlord that's just let it be vacant because they don't want to lease it up. You don't want to buy it from their neighbor who just had a kid and is needs max dollar out of that property to go buy the new one to raise their child in. You want the seller that you're going to be in alignment with.
So when you're looking for a seller who's tired, to your point, driving around looking for buildings that are tired.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's right in front of you. Then you just got to track down their contact info, give them a call, and go like, "Hey, what's up?" You know?
Yeah, cold calling while you're in front of the property is the best thing to do.
You know, one thing that we've talked about. Maybe this is a trade secret Trevor doesn't want me to share. City inspections. If you could you buddy up with a city inspector who's mad at slumlords. There's mad at people who own properties that are dilapidated and find out.
There's
Like-
inspectors that have gone to jail in Portland.
Well, because they're getting paid. They're getting paid on the side for
Yeah.
condemning a property. or
Yeah,
something.
there was a story about this. He was actually red tagging properties that shouldn't have been red tagged.
then turning them over to an investor.
Turn him to an investor and get a
Ooh,
kickback.
that's dirty.
So bad.
No, I'm thinking more like, hey, who's on
Yeah.
your shit? Who's on your shit list?
Yeah,
right
so it's a
now?
code violation list. Every city has one. You go
Okay.
get your code violation list, and that is by definition a landlord with a problem.
There you go. Trevor's going to write this down. The code violation list.
Yep.
We're looking for a tired seller. Might need a way out. Might need an exit. We're going to help them out. Code
Yep.
violation.
And then you're going to find repeat sellers on there, like multiple owners that don't have multiple properties on there. And then what you typically find is that then that leads back to some type of mental health issue or whatever. But yeah, there's
somebody died, a partnership ended, divorce. There's a number of different reasons why these. But I mean, you'll drive by multifamily properties and you can just tell. I mean, you can see that it hasn't been painted in 20 years. You can see, when the roof's caving in. There's tarps on the roof. The landscaping's overgrown.
Yeah. Some of our biggest repeat code violation people are just people that are vets that are in vet hospitals.
Oh,
You can't even get a hold of them. There's at least
do they have representatives that speak on their behalf? Like
I don't know.
they-
I've never seen like how they end up like the ones in Portland I know of have ultimately been foreclosed upon by the city, which is a historic event.
So we should start a nonprofit to help.
I was just
vets.
going to say, there's got to be a way from a veteran standpoint to start a nonprofit to help them liquidate real estate to get them a little bit better life. And then the excess proceeds there go to the Veterans Administration or their hospital.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
If nobody's thought of it already.
Yeah.
Look at all the ideas we come up with here. It's good.
Well, I want to give some actionable steps for people
I thought we did.
as we close out. Just redefine it. You gotta repeat yourself. So I think you have to define the
Define
deal
your buy
you're looking
box.
for.
And then that's what we're doing right now. One area where where have I not helped Daniel from a leadership standpoint? We don't have a very clear buy box at all. That guy's like, how can he figure out what I want? Because every deal is different. So how do I create different calculators based on different types of properties to help him be more clear and have more autonomy without me being around? Just define your buy box better.
So you're going to define your buy box, and then you're going to think about the ways you can come across that deal, right? Do you send direct mail? Do you just look at the market? Do you talk to brokers? Do you find an advisor? What is the most likely stream to bring?
Yeah,
to
think
that
of it
deal?
like your buy box is the bicycle wheel, and then all the ways to get that is the spokes inside.
And you're trying to figure out who that seller is along the way. Because it's to me, it's just a lot easier instead of looking for a needle in a haystack out of 10,000 people. If I sit down and I define exactly the seller I'm looking for and thinking about what they're going through in their life and what building they own that I want to own, and I can help them retire. I mean, it's somebody that's a certain age group.
Mhm.
It's somebody that's owned the property a certain amount of time. It's somebody that has a certain amount of debt. It's somebody that, has a building that's tired. Like there's a number of things that line up to where you just go like, you can put this puzzle piece together. It's
Yeah.
pretty easy. It's their time to move on to the next chapter, and it's our time to move into their chapter.
Yeah, so beyond the buy box, you're defining the avatar. And then by defining the avatar, that's going to tell you what strategy to use to get in communication with them.
Absolutely.
And then you have to take the action to contact them and then build
Yep.
that.
And I can tell you right now, having somebody from the Philippines call and read a script to somebody who's 80 years old is probably not going to net you a lot of leads.
Nah, I think probably
prove you wrong.
90% of our seller finance comes from direct mail.
You'll see. It's going to work great.
That's why Jan said use Egyptians. They have a better accent.
That's literally what he said.
Cool. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up?
I think that was it.
Like us, share us. Shout out to Rare Bird out there killing it, stealing deals from Trevor and Dane.
So I got a question for you. So our property management company does not cross the river into Vancouver.
We do.
Do you?
Yes.
No way.
We do.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
So I should just hire SMI instead of
Yeah.
cross the river?
I'll write up a contract for you right now.
Oh my gosh. Dude, we're doing deals. What is this? 9 months in? 8 months in?
Yeah, we actually, with our acquisition of JPM, we inherited some properties into our portfolio from Vancouver.
Mm.
And so we're looking to potentially manage out all the way into Longview and over into Camas right now. So we're looking at that very southern part of Washington, but we're trying to grow our portfolio in the Portland, Vancouver area. That's the next frontier.
I keep bringing it up, but I need to connect you to another property management company owner. You need to buy his company
Okay.
and his assets.
I hope none of my leadership staff is listening to this right now. They're going to kill me if I buy another man.
Hey, leadership staff, guess what?
It's definitely on my radar, but we got to hold off just a little bit. We're 8 months into this one, and
this
it didn't
guy
kill us,
actually
but it's
wrote
not
a book
easy.
on how to sell or value a property management company.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So he's going to get every penny for his.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why we walked away.
Is his name Abe by chance?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, we're down. You want to sell us a deal or a property management company? We're interested.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. You are the deal junkies now, because you're going to go take all this information and go buy more deals. If you find some deals you don't know how to buy them, give us a call. We'll help you. We'll help you buy them. We'll partner with you on them. We'll help you find money. We'll help you do whatever you need to do deals. We just want to do deals.
You know, I gave my phone number out on one of these episodes, and Avery beeped it out.
You're welcome.
Do you want to give it out again?
No, I think you beeped it out so they would contact you instead of me.
Good idea.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.